kind of initially kind of straighten off the top sheet so I know where it is. Okay, so can I go ahead and engage with your tissue? Okay. So I will initially kind of just assess through the sheet. So this is just extra. Okay. We call this cat paw from Chicago School of Massage Therapy. You guys call it that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you notice my Barbie arms, and I'm doing little shifts of my hip. When I got a little bit past, I move a little forward, so my Barbie arms are sustained. And now I'm around the face cradle. Okay. One global tip I'll share is I'm doing a little bit of a low back stretch by holding and engaging with her hips is soft fingers and hands. So that was something I mentioned more and more throughout yesterday's class. We're just starting deep tissue. What that means is I just let my fingers relax. Yes, they are on her gluteal tissue. She's here for massage. I'm okay with that because I could be massaging that tissue also. If you go like this, can you guys see my extensor? They're all engaged and fatiguing out. And I will have an exaggerated wrist curvature as well and create pain.
Yeah, I know. I seriously just looked at you.
Yeah.
I know. That my
So
friends
I
used
was
to
just
do
going to
that.
say this globally, and then we'll do gentle corrections throughout today. But now you know what I'm referencing when I say soft hands. It's because you're engaging all of these extensors and creating a hyperextension in your wrists, and you'll have a much shorter career, which makes all of us sad. Okay? So that's just a little thing. Okay. So sometimes when I'm literally wanting to tuck a sheet, a drape into their undergarment, I check to see if they have one. And I'm also palpating for their PSIS, which can be the landmark we have used. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drape right there. Back. So for myofascial work, I'm going to just engage with the tissue, and I like to have each hand on each side of the spine so I can assess right to left. Sorry, I forgot my sides for the client. So as I engage with the tissue, if the myofascial release is going to happen, it's because her fascia softens. And so now we move. I'm not gliding on her skin, just to really kind of reiterate what it feels like for me. And this, I can see a little, I don't know if you guys can, the left side is, my hand's getting a little bit ahead of my right. So that just, to me, says there's a little more, maybe fascial adhesions happening on the right hand side. Okay. And now it's actually kind of similar speed. It's just my oh my gosh, I don't know my hands. My right hand got ahead of already of my left. Okay. So this is one way that I can assess sides to each other. I will also, for the whole back, I'll actually then start usually lumbar region, come right off the spinous processes, and then I'll just engage. And I'll go now medial to lateral. Fascia can be moved in any direction, so that's the fun part of why I do this. And then it kind of, a little more slidey. And what I do just for fun to connect their whole body back to itself is I'll just do a little bit of a drag and sit back into my hands, and then I can re-engage. So I think yesterday, one of the male students was concerned about breast tissue as he came off the ribs. And so this is actually my way of being able to show, like, I'll come off and I will let my fingers I'll shift my fingers a little bit more kind of inferiorly onto the ribs and then drag up. Generally, if people, women in particular, are large chested and there is some breast tissue, I'm not engaging with it. So you can just kind of, but I still want them to be connected back, and and then I actually go up and over trapezius. How's that feel? Is that okay? So at this point, I am engaging with the fascia. I'm always assessing. And now that I'm already up here, I'll actually go superior to inferior. I don't just like leapfrog back down. So it'll make sense to you, I think, intuitively. Even just kind of like, where am I? How can I not use a lot of energy, which is like going all over the place? That's just silly. So more and more, because of what we've done, her fascia is kind of more pliable and engaging. The low back might be a little more sticky. A little bit. I will do this first before any kind of fascial finger rolling or anything, just because they're broad tools. And they just generally feel better, especially if they have a lot of tightness and adhesions between the fascial layers. So I immediately kind of just jumped into one of your fascial moves, which is the kind of cross arms. So I went across her spine, which you can do, and basically the heel of the palms are actually a little apart from each other, and I'm letting them come together because I stood up a little more. Or alternatively, you can sit down. So either one will work. It just depends on which way you're engaging, and you'll kind of figure it out. I think yesterday I focused more on like, I think yesterday we just said, have a little squat. So you can do it on the same side. And generally I don't do very fast movements, and I'll hold it just for a little bit. Sometimes I'll have them breathe. You take a breath in, and then exhale when you're ready, and get that little extra bit. It's so delicious. So, next up, Jason's going to. So you can actually then try and do your finger rolling. So I kind of just make a diamond or triangle, and I will usually pick to one side of the spine. And if I'm more medial and moving kind of laterally, what group am I affecting here? And I'm superficial.
The paraspinalis.
Paraspinalis group. So here you can really kind of do, your thumb rolling a lot of different ways, but so you can see how it's getting a little sticky. I might even just change directions here. So for me, this is all kind of assessment and affecting tissue. When it gets a little sticky there, I might change direction and it move more. Okay, so some people like to just commit, be like, making it way down. You can do that too. How's that feel? Pinchy or?
A little pinchy, but it's fine.
Yeah. So generally, if they do say it's a little pinchy, I'll actually do some compression. Kind of smooth it out in the sense of like, oh, okay, that feels better. But by compressing it, it can relax it some too. So can you guys see how much more lift there is? Yeah. So compression is one of those like neat tools. So as we get in the low back, which is what you guys were doing last week, so based on what you've seen, where do you think I will probably want to work first? What region? Lumbar, thoracic, shoulder, cervical?
Right lumbar.
So So my right lumbar,
Yeah.
her left lumbar,
Yes.
right?
That's what I meant.
I know, I was like, wait a second.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
That's exactly
because it's stickier there, right? Like once I did the skin rolling, it was like rolling, rolling, and rolling, and all of a sudden it was like, "Arr!" So I just converted to compression, just to kind of give the client another emotional, physical break from that finger rolling. So for me, I'm gonna go ahead and just do some stretches that way. My habit is just to now compare the two, and the side, you can see the difference, right? So I'm like, okay, I created some change. Oh no, I'm hearing, I'm literally hearing things. So now that I've assessed that, I'm like, okay, let's see how this is on this side. So I will say the beauty of the messiness of my work, in the sense that it's not all like one thing that I'm just carrying through, is to let you know you have that flexibility to change your mind of what you're doing and change your technique. Just I know you guys are all in the learning stage and you really like the tell me what to do. This is part of my tell you what to do. Go ahead and change your mind and be flexible. And so now here we have some stickiness. And that stickiness is actually right around where her trapezius comes down and is going to overlap here with the start of QL. And you have just the different back muscles also all running up through here. So I'm saying that because I'm like, I don't know why it's sticky, but those are the muscles in the area that I'll start investigating a little more. So. You can see that there's more pink tone happening. So what does that mean? More So it seems like bilaterally, I'd almost say this side has more adhesions than the other one. But initially I'm like, oh, I might start here. So energetically, I have learned, and will tell you as well, energy enters the body through the left and it leaves through the right. So I tend to like to favor starting opening up tissue on the left, just so that if all of that is true, then she has energy coming in and being able to flow more. So that's my nerdiness contribution to this part of the demo. We've done all the myofascial work.
Cool.
Do you want to hop in?
Sure.
On your compressions, I feel like, at least for me personally, I feel like I'm literally holding. Your compressions, your hand is moving a little bit more than what in my mind.
Oh, it did, yeah. I will also stay in place. It all depends on kind of the intent at the time. And right now I'm just kind of, it's like a fiber friction compression though, in that sense. I'm not gliding on her skin. Her tissue's all coming with me. But I can engage. Yeah.
I'm still compressing.
Yeah, I'm still compressing. So I'm not gliding though in that compression. The tissue's coming with me. That's the beauty of not having any lotion on. That I'm impacting this layer and layers below with my compression versus like, you know, kind of do a circular compression, shapes, movement. I will definitely just do static compressions and hold them. I usually do those especially at the beginning when I'm assessing. And I think when I'm trying to get from one place to another, I kind of move. Yeah. So.
I would suggest that if you're recording, you stop and start again. You don't have one massive video. You can